Penn State's hiring for a new head coach. Huge news in college football. And on that note, believe it, folks, less than a year after making the playoff semifinals, James Franklin has been fired. How far this team has fallen since being ranked preseason number 2. 3 losses already, 2 straight at home. This last one, chance to fire Franklin at Beaver Stadium on Saturday. All the big-time coaches have big buyouts, and Franklin takes the cake. $49 million, second largest in college football history. Now, Franklin goes out with over 104 wins over his 12 seasons with the Nittany Lions, tied for second most in school history. That includes a program record 13 wins last season. The only coach with more was, of course, the legendary Joe Paterno with his 409. All those wins, never really able to win the big ones. Just 4-21 against AP top 10 opponents, which is tied for the third worst record by any coach with a single program. Those 21 losses were the most by any coach during his time at Penn State. And things really hit a low point over the last 2 weeks. Penn State lost as huge favorites, first to UCLA and then against Northwestern. It was the first time since the FBS split that a team lost back-to-back games while being favored by 20 in each. So let's welcome in college football senior writer Pete Thamel in to talk more about this. Now, Pete, James Franklin's owed $49 million on his buyout. So I have to ask, that's a lot of money for a school to swallow. How did they come to this decision at this time?
Well, by most metrics, Ryan, James Franklin is an outstanding college football coach. He won just under 70% of his games. Penn State won 2 games in the college football playoff last year. Until this season, he had won double-digit games 3 games in a row. But look, the big game failures of James Franklin, which have been persistent throughout his career, combined with the precipitous drop in play considering Penn State's expectations this year, led the leadership at Penn State to come to the conclusion that he could not lead them to where they believe the program should be, and that would be as a national champion. James Franklin won the Big Ten in 2016. There were some dips after that, but he had the program as good as any in college football the previous 3 years. Penn State heading into this season was some people's preseason number 1. They were certainly in the top 5. Drew Aller was projected to be a top pick in the upcoming NFL draft. He obviously got injured the other night, is done for the season. His career is likely over in college. And moving forward, Penn State officials took a look at the next 6 games. They took a look at the last 3, and they decided they wanted someone else to fulfill their championship expectations.
Wow, how much has changed for this program in the last 3 games. And now they move forward. Associate head coach Terry Smith's going to serve as the interim coach for the remainder of the season. But I wonder, beyond that, do you have any information about how the school will approach the hire for the next head coach?
Sure. Terry Smith's a linchpin of James Franklin's staff. He, along with Franklin, really helped build the school back to respectability on the field in the wake of the sanctions from the Jerry Sandusky scandal. And this is going to be the next iteration of Penn State football under athletic director Pat Kraft, where they are going to go after championships unabashed. The first name that's going to come off everyone's lips is Nebraska coach Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule and Pat Kraft, the athletic director, have a long-standing relationship back to when Rhule was a head coach at Temple and Pat Kraft was the athletic director there. They remain close friends, and Matt Rhule, not coincidentally, is also grew up part of his youth in State College. He's a Penn State grad. He's a former walk-on there. So there are a lot of ties that make him the fluorescent obvious candidate. But we know, Ryan, sometimes the obvious candidate doesn't get the job. Couple other names to keep in mind. Matt Campbell, the coach at Iowa State, he's been very patient there, waiting for an upper Midwest powerhouse type job. This would fit the bill. Al Golden, who's now at the Bengals as a DC, he's been the head coach at Temple, is a former captain at Penn State, really well respected there. Manny Diaz, the Duke coach, was recently at Penn State as a defensive coordinator. He cuts the paradigm of the new modern coach, and he's got an electric shock into Duke in that roster right now. So those 4 names are probably the best 4 to start, but we've got a long way to go before Penn State hires a coach.
Indeed we do. A lot of coaches out there with ties to Penn State, but also Penn State, that job, it's national championship or bust, so we'll see which way they go. All right, Pete Thamel with the latest on the huge news today. James Franklin out at Penn State. Thank you, Pete.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look right at you.